everybody. My name's Craig.
I'm Brian.
I'm Burke.
And I'm Michelle.
And this is Get Dunked On, the podcast.
We're running with the shadows of the night. So baby, take my hand. You'll be alright.
Was this a song you were going to sing that you didn't think anyone of us knew?
Yes. I mean, let's be honest. Pat Benatar is not as popular as most people would assume that she is. So
I love Pat Benatar.
You do too?
I like her. I just don't
happening?
listen. I just don't listen to her, religiously or anything. Anytime her songs come out, I'm like, this is a nice little jam.
Yeah, right. Like, who just plays their music just on a playlist while they run and do other activities, like play Overwatch or whatever. Like, literally, she came on my '80s playlist there, my Pandora, this last weekend. I was over at a buddy's house. We were playing cards. And basically the song came on and I started jamming out, right? And Craig, Jeff. Jeff says, it's like, oh, what does Pat Benatar look like? And I go, there's actually a picture on the Pandora thing. He goes, oh, I can't wait to see what he looks like. And I just pause and go, what he looks like? He goes, yeah, Pat Benatar. And I showed him the video. He had no idea Pat Benatar was a woman.
Nice.
Yeah, but that goes back to, actually kind of ties into what we wanted to start off talking about, which is doing a little bit of research and background information. So this last week at work, I've had let me rephrase this. Outside of my work time, in my free spare time, not while I'm sitting at work, I have been doing some research on a video game, specifically in regards to Golden Sun. I know that as anyone who's been fans of this podcast for a long time knows that I'm a fan of Golden Sun, and I just felt like I needed to get more information. I don't know how else to describe it other than that, like, I felt unsatisfied with just knowing like enough about it, and so I wanted a deep dive. I spent probably close to, when it's all tallied up, 7 hours over like 3 days just researching and reading through the Wikia and a bunch of. You guys ever done that? You ever deep dive on a game?
No, never, ever.
It's like, yes, game. That's what we're going to limit this to. I don't deep dive into anything.
Well, yeah.
No, I have a lot, actually. Actually, most frequently, I did it by reading the entire Unsolved Mysteries Wikipedia, which obviously is not a video game, but I used to love watching that show as a kid, and I was like, hey, I want to like read about these cases. So I literally went through and read every single thing on that.
Do I make an L reference or Sherlock Holmes, or which reference do I make here on this one?
Well, you know that, isn't that on Netflix now?
Actually, I think it's on Amazon Prime.
Is it?
I know it's on one of those two.
I think it's on Prime streaming, which I do not have.
Okay.
Also, this was before it. But no, with video games, actually, I do it especially with games that I don't particularly enjoy playing, but I find really fascinating, which is mostly like the Metal Gear Solid series and like a bunch of horror game series.
That makes sense. I mean, Metal Gear Solid has a ridiculous backstory.
It's fantastic.
It's fascinating, but playing through the games can be like an investment of like, what, 800 hours? And that's just for Peace Walker, for the cutscenes. But I'm just saying that, I get that.
I've had Metal Gear Solid 5 for a long time, and I have not even touched it.
Yeah, I went through, let's just say I beat like the little first section, and then they go, oh, by the way, the game's not over, but you have to replay the missions. I went, yeah, fuck this shit.
Wash your hands of it, and we're like, no, I'm done.
I'm done. No, I'm not getting the rest of the story. Don't care.
Well, and getting the rest of the story is why I was researching Golden Sun so much. I had played through the original one like 8 times or something ridiculous for an RPG, but the second one, I always got to a certain point in it, and then I just like didn't quite quit, but I basically quit out, where I was like, all right, I've gotten to this point and I want to continue on, but then like something would happen, like, life event or whatever. So I never quite finished Golden Sun Lost Age. So I said, you know what, screw it. I want to find out how it ends, but I didn't want to just like read the part of that I didn't finish. I wanted to go back and do the full thing. So it started off with that simple idea, and then it's turned into this like ridiculous deep dive to the point where now I feel like I'm extraordinarily well versed on the entirety of Golden Sun lore, which is something I like thought I knew before, but now after reading it, I'm like, there were so many connections and things that I had no idea. Like just small stuff. And what sets it all apart for me is that I'm finding out that the antagonists from the first game were technically the heroes of the story that I kill. Like,
Really?
yeah, like the whole first game, you're facing off against this like combination of like these fire adepts, and they're like, they're like, oh man, they're so badass. Oh, these guys are assholes. They're wrecking the town. They're the ones kidnapping people and whatever else. They had a legit ass reason for doing everything that they did, and they were the only ones trying to save the world, and no one knew it. Basically.
Interesting.
Wow.
It's such a fascinating deep dive. Like, I don't know how else to put it other than like I could regale you with it, but it would be probably an entire podcast unto itself. Maybe we'll do something with that later, but yeah.
Yeah, it's roughly the same thing for me with like the Dark Souls
Oh yeah.
universe. Like that is the most, they don't give you anything in the games, which is funny because that's one of the things I hated about Destiny. But the gameplay wasn't fun for Destiny. So not having a story and no gameplay really hurt it. Where Dark Souls, well, I mean, that's the thing that was brought up because I was actually playing NHL last night with some buddies and they're like, oh, you getting Destiny 2? I was like, no, not really. I didn't really have the story. And they're like, well, what if it improved story? I was like, well, it still relied on gameplay. Like otherwise I would have hated Dark Souls if it was literally, I just need story and that's it. Because otherwise, I mean, you have to like really search for story inside of Dark Souls. And it's something that, I had to go outside and research it, and you can pin it together throughout the game, but I was able to play it because the gameplay is so fun in that game that was easy for me to keep going through, where it's one of the few times where the gameplay it's so outshined the storyline element of the series that like I could still just sit there and play it forever and do it over and over and over again. So like I've done that. I've started doing that with Dark Souls right now. Like I'm not very far into it, but I started really researching in the last like month or 3 months, whenever your brother and I, Brian, whenever him and I started going back through it again.
2.5, maybe 3 months, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been trying to, obviously it's not like I spent 8 hours. It's just like every time something pops up, I'm like, oh, how's that connected in here? So I definitely with the games I've done it that way, and do it with movies, trying to find like a universe like The Matrix. You can find a ton extra about the universe.
Oh, sure. And
through games or books and anime and all this other stuff. They have a ton of different stuff that they had in that whole universe. But yeah, definitely have deep dived multiple times into that universe.
What was that first game that The Matrix had that you played as like Ghost or something?
Enter the Matrix.
That's what it was. I mean, well, I should remember that title probably pretty easy, but
it was terrible.
It was terrible, but it gave you like a whole bunch of backstory on characters that like basically were like, wow, these are really fascinating characters. You watch the next movie, they're like, get blown up immediately.
Basically, like I thought that was awesome, though. It tied in with the movie. They released same day, and it tied in with the movie, and it explained this entire story arc of these characters that you get a little bit, but not a ton of. But it gave you this entire story arc, and you go through, and you're like, oh my god, that wove right into that part of the movie right there. Like that's where they just came from, and why they were out of breath or whatever it was. Like it really tied in, and it was really cool. And that's because they didn't
do cardio. That's why it all makes sense now.
Well, that's got to be probably the easiest cosplay ever, right? The Matrix. It's like, can I just wear black leather with a trench coat and I'm good? Is that all you do for cosplay for that?
Unless you go with the Neo outfit, because from 2 and onward, where he wears like that like vaguely Asian black trench coat thing. You know what I'm talking about? Where he has like the mini collar and the whole nine. Where that thing. But I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but that thing. Yes. So
I just go as Mr. Anderson and wear, or not Mr. Anderson, whatever, Mr. Smith and wear a suit.
Oh, the Agent Smith there.
The Agent Smith, yeah.
There you go. All you need is a little earpiece and you call it good.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't even think about the earpiece. I was thinking just a suit. I'm like, no. You could walk down the hall. I'm just saying, I didn't think about it off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, you could just kind of walk down the aisle, be like, my name's Tom. And they wouldn't know. And then you turn, you're like, but I'm Agent Smith. People are looking at you like, why is Bill in accounting talking to himself again?
Yeah. Well, a suit plus sunglasses. And as I said, just you have to have that like late 90s earpiece that everybody wore. What that has like the little thing to. Have you ever worn one of them?
Not exactly one of those, but I've worn something akin.
I worked in a catering gig and I had to wear one, and and it was like it was both simultaneously the best and the worst thing about working at the catering place, because that was the worst, because in your ear you're like, they need more chicken, but like on a positive note, if you didn't want to talk to somebody, you just go, oh, hold on a second, and you touch your ear as if you're like really getting a super call from like the president, like, I have to go. It was a great way to get out of conversations.
Did you ever have to wear one, Michelle? Did you say yes? I could. I saw your
No,
reply,
I
but
haven't really.
I didn't know if it was something that you wore at some point during work. I've gotten something pretty close. Actually,
And Craig disappears.
Just walked away.
Just walked away. Actually, hold on a second.
I had this thing in. I bought when I was working. I used to be a vendor inside of a Costco, and I sold beds for anybody that didn't know. So basically, if you've ever been into one of those warehouses like a Sam's or a Costco or something like that, and there's people in there and they're actually sitting there trying to sell a particular product, and you don't see them actually have a Costco name tag. I was one of those guys. So I was in there trying to sell beds, and I had this Bluetooth earphone with me. I bought it when I was there. When I was at one of these jobs, I went and bought it. And so it would sit around my neck. And this is when I had that really long hair that most of you probably remember. And so I would tuck it, the cable here, I would tuck behind like in my hair and then over the top, and then feed the actual earpiece like in here. So it like wrapped around my ear. You couldn't really see it because I was wearing a collared shirt as well. And I would hide this all underneath the collared shirt. So all you would see is just this little like wire in the thing going into my ear. Every single person just thought I was wearing that because, like, hey, you're wearing that because of, whatever retail or
Sure.
something along those lines. And little do they know, I'm actually listening to the Hobbit audiobook when I was working, or at the time I was trying to catch up on a lot of podcasts. It was like right after I found a bunch of podcasts. So like, I started listening to podcasts maybe, I don't know, 6 months before I started working there and doing the travel for this. And so, there's some podcasts, they're like 500 episodes in, and I'm trying to catch up on each one of them. That's at least an hour and a half long.
500 episodes in?
Yeah, stuff like that. So I'd be trying to catch up. I mean, there's plenty of them where there's like even 3 podcasts and they all are, 200 episodes in. I'm trying to catch up on all of those. So
I mean, people should, if they think that's crazy, they should try to catch up on, like, I don't know, a shorter one, like 40 some episodes worth of a amazing series.
Potentially 41.
Exactly. No, but Craig, you already brought it up a little bit, but our main topic today is going to be starting into the world of cosplay, and specifically what we would ideally like to do if we had unlimited time, money, resources, etc. And characters we like to emulate, maybe ones that would be extra fun for us because of certain connections, and or maybe just a character you just think looks cool because they're cool. Edgelord because of Edgelord. So who would like to kick us off today? Because I think we all have a long list each.
Way to lead right into one of mine. I just think it would be fun to run around with a mask and 2 shotguns like Reaper from Overwatch. I mean, that's not one of my top ones. It's like a lower list one, but I still think it would be kind of funny, like running around.
Sure.
I don't know why it always humored me. I always like the character, and I know a lot of people make fun of him because he is kind of that like.
No, I got
dark. But I'm like, I like that character. I really do. He makes me happy. He makes me smile. So that was one of them.
I hear that character is actually one of the hardest ones to cosplay, only because of his shoulder pads. I don't know if you've heard about this or not.
Breathe out of the mask.
Well, yeah, that too. But apparently, because of the way they designed the character, his shoulders are disproportionately bigger than a lot of parts of his body, and like because he wears a long jacket, cloak, whatever you want to call it, that basically the ratio gets thrown off, and there's only been a few people who've really kind of gotten it right. And what happens is you either get a Reaper with huge shoulders and a tiny head, or a huge head and tiny shoulders. So they always look really goofy and lopsided. But if you could pull off an amazing Reaper cosplay, that would be pretty tight. I mean, I think I know me personally, any Overwatch character, if you say it, I'm going to be like, yeah, cool, I'm down for that. So how about you, Michelle? We'll work in a clockwise for thing here. So Michelle, why don't you go next?
So there's a lot of characters that I would like to do. Actually last Halloween, I set out to make my own like Lady Captain America costume, and a lot of things went wrong, so I had to improvise in a lot of ways that I'm not so proud of, but at the same time, like I really did like enjoy my costume.
I saw the pictures.
So I would like to redo that like better, like the way I had intended with everything not going wrong. But then like the next like character that I actually want to make a costume for is Saria from Ocarina of Time.
Ooh, forgotten friend who turns into a sage. Say that she's what, like, I consider her a tragic character. I say, well, that's an awesome choice.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that, and I have everything picked out that I need. It's just a matter of like actually getting it and putting it all together.
So, can I ask you about your Captain America one real quick? Which Captain America are we talking about? Like, which version of Cap?
I was trying to base it off of the like 1940s costume from the first Avenger movie.
Gotcha. Okay, I was curious.
And for the Saria, however you pronounce it, are you basically just doing? I say basically, but so if it's more complex than that, don't punch me. I mean, is that just like a green dress with green hair type thing, and then maybe makeup, or I mean, what really goes into that costume? Is there more that I'm not thinking about that I don't know because I don't pay attention to things all the time?
She actually doesn't wear a dress. She's actually wearing like shorts and a shirt.
Yep.
And she has a long sleeve shirt under it. So I have like all of that picked out. I have a green belt to go with it, the green boots, the wig, and like the piece to make the ears.
Nice.
Plus, I have like a replica fairy ocarina and a necklace with the forest metal medallion on it.
Oh,
this is exactly why that I'm not a huge cosplayer. I would have never thought about the ears. Like, it would have taken me forever. And then as soon as you said ears, I was like, well, shit, no duh. That makes complete sense. But like, these are things I don't think about. And that's exactly why I asked, because otherwise truth be told, as you just heard, I've played that game plenty of times. And you just told me that she wore a shirt and shorts basically. And I thought she was in a dress the whole time. So, or like a skirt type thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I always thought. So, and that's one of my favorite games of all time. That's how much I pay attention to these things.
Yeah, I never really thought about stuff like that before myself either, but when I went to a con for the first time last year, it was fun, but I definitely think I would have had more fun being in costume, because that's when like a lot of people get to participate in more. Plus it was like a last minute unplanned thing and I did not have a lot of spending money on me, and it turns out that cons are just really expensive to really do much at. But that's when I was like really like, when I was looking at other people's costumes, from the, you could tell that they were like, oh shit, what do I have laying around my room that's going to make me look like a character, to hey, I've been spending 9 months putting this together. Like, you could tell how much little details mattered when you're trying to identify a character.
For sure.
Cons being expensive is an understatement. Like, when Sarah and I went to Fandom Fest in Kentucky, all we wanted to do was go there because Kevin Smith was touring his movie Yoga Hosers. We just wanted to go there. He did the movie and then it did Q&A afterwards. In totality, I think it was like somewhere between $450 and $500 for Sarah and I just to go to do that, basically.
Oh my God.
It was like, because you had to buy a pass for the day to get into the con, and that was like, I think $75 a piece or something. Like, I don't remember. I'm trying to remember the numbers off the top of my head, but I remember it being at least $300 for us both to get in and just do that. Granted,
and then you have to buy stuff to go see that. Panel
so if once you get in there, I had to pay to get into the movie and the Q&A after that. Like, so they're ridiculously expensive at times.
Varies by some. Like the one I went to, it was also like the first year of it because it was actually a spin-off of a different con. But once you got like your pass, like you were actually able to go to all of the panels for free. It was included in the pass. Of course, you had to like wait in lines and stuff like that. But I mean, like you had everyone, like you had the game room cost money. You had everybody like selling really awesome stuff. That cost money.
Oh yeah, of course.
We had to.
I was expecting that.
We had to go to the mall food court like 2 or 3 times because we were there for so long.
Sure.
Yeah, the food.
They don't actually serve a lot of food at these things because of allergies. Actually, like they don't really allow it, so you have to get it from like external sources.
Yeah. When we. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking. Oh, when I was working for that bed company I was talking about, I was doing there's this massive center in Birmingham, Alabama I was doing. And next door, they were having some kind of, it was like Kame-Con, not Comic-Con, but like Kame, like Kame-Con or something like that. And I've got a little story about.
There's a bunch of old bald perverts.
I've got a story about that I could do if you guys want me to get into it, but it makes me laugh. But anyways, I went over there and I just walked in one day and I had a pass to get into the convention center myself for something else. And it wasn't like the con that we had next to the MLG event. It wasn't like connected like that. It was literally like, it was a fully, like you had to like cross and go over, but I just happened to have a lanyard and it looked like everybody else's lanyard. And so I was like, whatever. I just walked right in. No one stopped me. No one did anything. Again, the power of if you just walk in confidently to somewhere, people might not stop you.
True.
I walked over there and it was the same thing. If you wanted to get in anywhere, you had, and this particular one, you had to prepay to get into the panels. All the panels were prepay panels. You had to have tickets and you had to be on the list and all this other stuff. So I couldn't get into anything and sit down and watch or listen. And I mean, like this was an event that had a bunch of like YouTubers there at one point. And this is 2012, I think. Like early 2000.
So what?
No,
Smosh, Shane Dawson sort of era.
Early 2013. I don't remember. It was people that you had watched at the time too, though. I remember that. But like
I watched?
Yeah, you had watched some of them, or like you had talked about them. I'd passively known about them through you, Brian.
Basically, Craig's like, I knew who they were, and so it must have been Brian's fault.
Yeah. No, I remember it being people
There it
because I was
is.
like, I wonder if Brian would like actually seeing these guys because I've heard him talk about them before. It could have been like,
Okay.
I fucking hate these people for all I remember. But I just remember you. But they were there and doing, they were just talking and shit like that. So it was that's been both of my con experiences so far. Was you had to pay to get in and you had to pay for all the panels. And there was a massive line to meet Stan Lee. And I was like, yeah, no.
He's like, greetings, true believers.
It was like out the building, it like weaved back and forth. Wow.
Yeah.
But there was a ton of cool cosplay costumes there. Like there were so many so cool ones.
The only con that I've never been to one, but I was in Atlanta for Dragon Con once, and I was just happened to be downtown
I've heard great
Atlanta
things
for something. And like I was with my girlfriend at the time, and then her like brother and I guess sister-in-law or something, and like they were all like very serious, not us kind of people. And I'm watching. I was like, these are my kind of people. I'm gonna go talk to them. And so I went up, tried to get in. Everyone's like, yeah, I'm so everyone's with me. Like, I'm so embarrassed. I don't know what. I was like, who the fuck cares? I was like, I want to talk to people. I was like, these are awesome costumes.
Speaking of which, Burke, what about you? What's one of your cosplay choices?
I'm gonna have to go with one from the Halo series. I know, shocker, right?
Okay.
I know, but I'm not going to do Master Chief because I think a lot of people have done it. I want to do Buck in the Spartan, his Spartan outfit.
Okay, that's legit.
Just because one, I have a man crush on Nathan Fillion.
Oh my god, I love him.
Dude,
Who
I know,
doesn't?
right? Oh god,
Captain Hammer or whatever.
I mean, even Destiny could ruin that character, though. But seriously,
Damn.
But like his helmet, like the gray armor, just the gray Spartan armor, and having that would take so much to get those angles right. Like
I respect the hell out of it, though.
It would be amazing to do and pull off.
In looking up stuff, I found somebody whose Spartan costume cost him over $2,000.
Oh, I believe it.
I go to
believe
Europe and back with that. Oh my god,
What, a United
that's
flight?
ridiculous.
Good luck.
Good luck. Oh
All
man,
right, Brian, what's one of yours?
All right, I have a long list, so I'm just gonna knock out. Let's see, hold on. I can knock out a cluster of them. Let's see, 1, 2, 3.
He's going as Torbjorn from
I have
Overwatch.
quite a few too, but I was controlling myself.
How about this? I'll knock out 3 of them in one swoop, just because I already mentioned Golden Sun. I want to go, if it was a multi-day con, I want to go as Matthew, Isaac, Old Isaac, and Ivan. So I want to go as all 4 of those. It's a technically one character. It's one character 2 times, but it's very different costumes and ages at the time. So they're very different characters. But those would be absolutely incredible to do. Like they're for those of you who've ever played the games, you kind of know what they look like, but their costumes are very colorful, but at the same time they're comfortable. I don't know how else to describe them, but like they kind of no, because like it wouldn't be like one of those ones that have like the really like rigid stuff on them, you know, like it's
not a whole lot of like hard plastics to try and create shapes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
it's not
like the
terrible.
Spartan armor, where you're probably gonna have to wear some things that are sort of restricting and uncomfortable. Yeah,
right. The only one that would ever have anything like that is like Isaac, not old Isaac. But like Matthew and old Isaac would be some of my absolute favorite ones, because like old Isaac's outfit, holy hell, I would wear that today. I'd wear that to the mall. Like that shit is so awesome. Like he's got this like this long like almost duster style like coat, but it's blue. Oh, dude, it's so amazing. And I always love those characters, and to be able to like put on those outfits would be really, really awesome. Plus, if it was a multi-day con, each day you're coming in as a different version of them, and then culminating like with Isaac and then like old Isaac as just double like whammy would be so cool to me. I don't know. I get excited about that idea.
That's not a bad idea. We kind of think of it that way, where let's just say that you said one costume, Brian, and that was your Friday costume. Now we can kind of go back around if we want and say like the, you know, maybe a second day or third day costume that we might want to go, because there's another one that I was like, I don't know, like you said, it's unlimited time, unlimited resources.
Yeah,
I would somehow get a massive one and be the Arbiter. I think that would be a fun one to do.
Oh my god!
Oh yeah!
Could you imagine?
I sort of saying Helios Arbiter, like when he's the head of state there, like that type of.
Oh yeah.
That'd be so cool. And then I don't know how you would do the sword and whatnot, but like we said, we'd get that Halo energy sword, and it'd be
But like, imagine your head is inside of like where the base of his neck would be, and the top of the head is like like a puppeteered. You know what I mean?
Oh, you'd have to, yeah.
So it could like spin around and be like, and you know, and it could have the mouth move.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be like.
I was thinking like that and like an alien, like from the movie Aliens.
Oh yeah,
kind of like the same thing. But the thing would be is the leg joints, because they're backwards. I'm like, how would you do that?
I know how. I know how. Legitimately, people do this.
This is what Brian's going to bring up. Yep, go ahead.
The spring legs.
Oh, the spring sprint things.
Yeah, the spring sprint things. People do those like in their costumes. I've seen them. It's tight. It's really cool looking. It blows my mind really when I see them. But I don't know. What about you, Michelle? What's your next day costume?
My next day one would be Palutena.
Oh, Kid Icarus reference. Okay,
yes.
Okay,
yes.
or it's. Or
entirely
as everyone
cheap
else
Smash
is going to
know, Smash Brothers, because no one plays Kid Icarus.
I'm sorry, the entirely cheap Smash Brothers character. Get it right.
She's fabulous.
No, I will not. I will not stand down on this. Palutena is absolutely her up.
I love playing her.
Of course you do. Her up A is ridiculous. That beam of light that like extends, it's basically like the Pikachu's down B special thunder there, you know? Like,
and what was wrong with that? That was also my favorite.
Also cheap. Yeah, exactly. I know how you play. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it doesn't work. But yes, that's actually a really good costume. Would you do her standard colors, or would you do one of the variants?
Probably the standard colors.
Okay. So, what's up with you and green-haired choices?
I don't know, because I was just thinking that too, and I was like, that's like the second green-haired character, but I'm pretty sure like that's it.
Okay. I mean, to be fair, Isaac, Matthew, and Ivan all have blonde hair, so I can't judge because I'm kind of basing it off of my current or my actual hair color. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd be bold enough to. I mean, I shouldn't say that. It'd be weird for me to try a different color hair for a costume. I've never done something like that before.
I love doing the hair.
Really?
Just messing. It's just fun.
Have you worn a wig before?
No, I just cut my own hair.
Oh, that's right.
I usually do something stupid like that. Yeah.
What about you, Craig? Would you wear a wig?
Yeah, I'd wear a wig. I'd dye. I would trim, cut. I would do whatever. I'm not opposed to it at all.
Yeah, I can't dye my hair because it would absorb the color, and then my hair would be whatever that color is until I got it all cut off.
Yep. That would be the exact thing that would happen, and there's no possible way there'd be anything else because you've tested with your hair and you know exactly how it would work.
That's what happened. That's what happened to Brian, you know, the other Brian from our school.
Yep.
Yeah, you remember
See,
that.
something else happened to somebody else with completely different genetics, and that's, by damn it, that's going to happen to me. There's no possible way it could ever do anything. So I'm going to be scared for 45 years to do anything fun because of one particular case that happened somewhat nearby me, and that must be the scientific evidence pointing towards that.
Him and I have the exact same initials, thus the same genetics. Everybody knows that. Same middle initial too. No, but like if I did do a color in my hair, it would probably be silver. I like silver hair characters.
Yeah, that wouldn't mess with you that much because you're pretty close to that anyway.
Yeah.
I could see black lingering, but
yeah, definitely. There's not too many like black-haired characters that I'm like, oh my god, I want to dress up as that guy kind of thing. You know, most of mine are blonde or someone down that road. Like for example, kind of taking it away from video games, bringing up a character from a show, I'd want to go as Edward Elric from Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Yeah, thank you. Right. I think I could pull off a good Ed. I have the blonde hair to begin with. Obviously, I would need it to be longer. So I would, this is unlimited time, resources, money. I could wear a pretty convincing blonde wig. You know, that would be long enough. The red coat is badass. The metal arm and leg. Like, come on. Tell me how cool is that? Like, oh, that'd be so awesome. I would love to do Edward Elric.
It's hard for me to judge on that one. I've never watched Full Metal Alchemist.
Do you want to Google it?
No, not really.
Yeah, okay. I have no idea either.
You guys have never. Okay, fair enough.
No,
With you, Brian.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go. My second costume.
Okay.
I'm gonna go as a space cowboy.
Cowboy Bebop. Spike.
From Firefly.
Oh.
AKA Nathan Fillion.
Nice.
But on top of that, did you see when he cosplayed himself in Castle?
No.
Or did you even know that? Yeah.
I haven't watched it, but I've seen like pictures of it, and I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, he did it. It was like a Halloween thing, and it was his daughter. And he goes, he's like, "What are you going for Christmas?" He goes, "I think I'm gonna do a space cowboy." She goes, "They won't exist in space," and he's in his costume from Firefly, and I'm like, "Ah!" I just go all little girl.
Can he still pull it off?
Oh yeah. Oh. It was awesome.
That man is so majestic.
I know.
That is awesome. Oh my god.
All right, Brian, day 2.
Oh, let's see. I had Edward Elric, the Golden Sun guys. I'd want to do Cloud. I still would want to do Cloud pretty bad. I've never even played Final Fantasy VII, and I want to go as Cloud because of 2 reasons. One, I love him in Smash, but beyond that, but I do. I love him. He's probably my favorite character in the newest Smash. But anyway, the reason is I love giant, oversized, comical swords like that. It's just hilarious and awesome to me. And plus, of course, he's blonde, so it plays into my whole thing. And realistically, the costume isn't that hard. Mainly, it's just like a turtleneck sweater without sleeves. By the way, this was the Lonely Island reference. I was waiting for you to do turtleneck and chain.
That's funny to me that you find the comically large sword like hilarious and you like it and whatnot, but in Dark Souls you choose to do like a little rapier and like a magic staff. No,
I mean I do. You're right, but also no, you're wrong because I didn't choose anything by accident in that game, Craig. There is a giant, massive, overly sized greatsword that's powered by how much magic you have. It's called the Moonlight Greatsword, and I'm going to be using it when I get to it.
Yeah, it'll take you a hot minute to get there.
Oh, it's going to take me extraordinarily long, but I'm playing long game.
Speaking of that is going to be my Sunday costume. It's going to end up being a Dark Souls one. And here's the problem. About every week, it changes which it could be. So
Onion guy,
like that's one of them, but it's not a huge one. It still would be funny, but I think a lot of people have done like the onion, the onion suit. It's a pretty meme-ish thing. Like I might end up doing, because one of the main armor sets I wear in Dark Souls 3 is the Armor of Thorns. I think that's how it's called, or the Thorn armor, and that would be pretty fun to like try and make something like that.
Please have the spiky whip.
Yeah, the notched whip. Yeah, yes. the witch's locks.
Yes,
have that. But then there's other times where it just like I would like to be like just a standard like one of the standard enemies, one of the standard like Londor Knights or something like that.
Sure.
Or, I don't like it just goes back and forth every time I'll see something, I'll see an enemy. I'm like, oh, that would be so cool. Like, I wish I could have his armor set right now. You know, stuff like that.
I want you to go as the dancer of the Boreal Valley.
Okay, I have to get real fucking big, real fucking quick.
Yeah.
Well, I guess actually that brings up a good point. In this fictional scenario that we came up with for this thing, it was unlimited time and money and resources on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can't really physically change ourselves, so to speak. You know what I mean? Beyond like, okay, you're not going to magically get like 7'9", right? You know what I mean? To pull off a costume, right?
Right.
So I guess I don't know if this changes anything, but what if you could wave a magic wand and you could pull off any character from anything? And you could swap gender, you could swap height, you could literally be, if you wanted to be the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, like everyone is somehow in this fictional world totally okay with you as a colossal, big as a skyscraper Marshmallow Man walking down Central Avenue, but only last for the con. Like, can you guys?
I would do it. You brought up something completely new that I didn't have time to prep for.
Well, that's the point of a podcast, son. This is like improv class. Yes, and
I can answer both.
Okay, Michelle, go please.
Okay, so my day 3 costume, I would want to do the Twilight form of Midna.
Oh, tight.
And the thing that I would like cosplay if I could, turn into it would definitely be like a legit Transformer.
Nice. Yes.
Like if I can wave the magic wand and make it all possible.
Yeah.
Legit Transformer.
Which one?
Like Bumblebee or something.
There you go. So wait, could I stand there at the con going Bumblebee? And Michelle comes rolling. Oh my god. That's awesome.
See, with the magic wand thing, my mind went with, if I'm doing this, I'm doing something utterly grotesque. Like I'm thinking one of the, like in my head, I'm going with like one of the enemies in Dark Souls that it looks horrific. You're looking at them and it's like skin bubbling or whatever and like melting down. And you were just the creepiest fucking shit ever. And it's disgusting.
What?
And I was thinking that, or like, like a Resident Evil type, like holy shit, melting flesh.
Oh,
like
God, yeah.
That's where my head was going, was something along those lines, but like a blob monster. So it's not like I could have put on prosthetic makeup and kind of been that. I'm talking, it would be something where you are not shaped like a human really anymore.
So you come in like muck.
Yeah,
like
basically like
muck. Craig's just like
basically something along those lines, or like, in that direction, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Interesting. So Burke, did your brain go the same direction?
Yeah, like I was. It was, and when Craig started talking, I couldn't think of the monster, but when he started saying that, it went to the I don't know what it's called, but it's in the sewers or underneath the city of Dark Souls 1, and it was like this massive, just black creature that comes out of the abyss, and it's just disgusting muck, something that looks like it has like this massive vagina in it, and it's like with teeth, and it's just disgusting. It's just fucking. And that's kind of where I went.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I did not. I went the other way with it. I was like, what could I not get away with as it like
Brian's like, I wanted to be Arnold Schwarzenegger in his bodybuilding peak.
Yeah, right. No.
Yeah, we definitely went 2 different ways with that.
Well, no, like in my head, I was thinking like the opposite of like all of my costume picks usually revolved around like, okay, like I picture myself and whether I'm like physically more fit or not fit, but always like more or less like trying to keep the blonde hair as the central thing because I have actual blonde hair to like as my like pivot point. But if I had this magic wand thing, then at that point, I would want to go as any and all of the girls from Overwatch. Because at that point, now I'm a booth babe, and it's pretty awesome. And I would love to be Mercy walking around. Absolutely, say why not? If you have the ability, like, and it's only for the con itself, go for it. Like that would be hilarious. Because let's be honest, the girls in Overwatch have way better costumes and like different skins and different, for all that you can unlock and all that stuff than the guys do in Overwatch. Overwatch guys are like basically like, do you want soldier or like an angrier soldier? And I'm like,
it's a lot
cool,
of just color swapping of
yeah,
their
it's color
costumes.
swapping, exactly. But with the girls, it's like way more. It's super cool. Like, you're like, oh wow, May has an entirely like separate outfit, or Widowmaker is like, oh hi, I'm an assassin. No wait, I'm a ballerina. No wait, I'm a badass. You know, whatever. Like, I don't know. That's my point. Is that I would go as like any and all the girls from Overwatch. So that would be my choice.
I mean, Winston has a ton of different like themes and stuff.
Yeah.
Winston's a big monkey. He's not technically male, but not really human.
His biggest change is they literally put a fake mustache on him in one of his skins, and that's the one that Tony uses, the Explorer. But yeah, so I mean, that's what I would do. So like, I went the opposite direction as like, you guys are going like dark and gritty like stuff, and I'm like, no, I want to be a pretty girl. Like,
I was just trying to think of something that like you could never come close to.
That's what I could never come close to.
I'm
not a pretty girl.
You could,
you could literally make a male version of the costume, and the idea would get across.
You could still do like a gender swap costume, like a literal.
No, yes, you
get
can do
yourself.
Yes. I'll give you that.
You could go as Zarya.
You got like fake breasts, and you go through the whole way, and you do the makeup the right way, and make it really angular. I don't know, like you could fake your way. I'm not going to say it's going to be perfect or anything like that, but I'm saying like you could potentially get towards that route. You can't be Blob Monster as anyone. Any human can't be Blob Monster
because you have that wretched spine holding you back.
Yeah, like, and so so that's what I was going. Like I was going with that, or like the other things were like other giant creatures that you couldn't possibly beat, you know, not like dragons and stuff like that, but just something that was giant. But I was like, well, I want to fit in the convention center, so I couldn't do Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. But
well, you can stand outside the convention center, and then people would take pictures with you, and you're like, okay.
I was trying to think of something that would like slime along the floor, and you just see like bones and hands sticking out on edges. And there's like a screaming face coming out another one. And it's like oozing constantly, and that's what the slime is on. Like that's where I went, trying to be like, okay, you are so different than what this is normally going to look like. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't want to be a pretty girl and take pictures with people, because that's what I would do in that scenario.
I would chase people around, basically.
I was picturing Craig like coming out of the bathroom at the con. Everyone's like, oh god.
me and Brian as his Mercy girl cosplaying, me as a blob, like you're trying to put your arm around me like this, and I'm trying to smile like
oh god.
Blob, you went to the wrong restroom. I'm sorry. No matter where you went, you're wrong.
I'm pretty sure I was just excreting along the floor as I was going. No one's going to know. I don't have to worry about that at all. No one is going to know.
Oh my god. I'm just wow. Yeah, now my brain is literally gone to dark place.
With all these things, is there like a character? Because Brian, you were saying that when you're talking about cosplays, you're kind of coming up with things that are themed around the blonde hair. Like, okay, that's one of my anchors that I'm not going to change because I'm scared to change anything ever. So I'm going to go around that. Are there other, like, in terms of personality, are there characters that like you feel like you match with really well, where you kind of feel like, I don't know, maybe like a kindred spirit, or like that's how you would describe yourself in game form? Like, do you have anything like that?
I truth be told, I don't like. It's tough, okay, because like what I want to cosplay is a guy like Link. Yes, does he have blonde hair? Yes, and would I totally be down for it? Sure, but that doesn't fit my like ideal cosplay, because to me a cosplay is you're picking characters that are similar to you but not exactly to your own personal whatever, right? Like my favorite characters in books, movies, literature, whatever it is, you know, or literature and books, the same thing, you know what I mean, like different media forms, are usually the flawed ones, but specifically like they're the bad guy turned good guy with who wants redemption kind of angle, right? You know what I mean? I don't know how else to put it. So like, while their moral compass isn't necessarily something I'm into, I don't want it to be I don't want it to be pure goody or pure like I'm evil, like, you know, nothing like that. But you know,
So kind of in that middle ground, I guess, is a better way to put it for me. But that's just I guess my.
Is there any like specific character that you could point to? Like, do you have an example just off the top of your head?
Well, okay. I mean, not that I would want to go as this character, but like you look at a character like Goku, right? Goku is like, oh, I'm super amazingly awesome and oh, I'm so great. But then you look at a character like Vegeta and you're like, wow, that's a way more interesting character because he's the bad guy trying to be like, who's like, I guess I kind of have to be a good guy, even though I'm still a bad dude kind of thing, right? So like that's if that helps you with theming wise, but there's a lot of characters out there that kind of fit that mold that I tend to go with more often than not. Like for example, you look at even Power Rangers, the Green Ranger Tommy, another great example of something like that, where you have a character who is technically the bad guy, but then he ends up joining the good guys and he has to do his redemption arc.
So you feel like you connect with those types of characters though?
They're the ones that I find most interesting, would want to cosplay. Not because I personally identify with that.
Sorry.
But yeah.
I must have. I was saying like, who do you identify with, like as characters?
Oh,
like,
unfortunately,
different characters you identify with.
Unfortunately, I identify with like the I'm gonna call them the dreamer characters, like the ones that basically are like have their head in the clouds half the time. But like are not like usually the main character. I don't know how else to put it, but those ones. Those are the ones that I tend to be like more similar to. Just yeah, I don't know. That's it.
No, that makes sense. Sorry, that's what I was going for from the beginning.
Yeah.
That's my fault.
I mean, everybody wants to think that they're the hero of the story, but in reality, I'm like, I'm not the main hero. Like, I have an interesting side story, but I'm not the main one.
I can go one deeper. I literally can't think of a character that like I relate to in games. Hardly ever, because they're usually the hero or they're the villain. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you see that NPC that you see through the window sitting down watching TV? Like, that's more like me. Like, I don't have the motivation to be bad. I don't have the motivation to be good. I don't have the drive to do either one of those. Like, I am the unfortunate amount of like, no, I'm like cool with where I'm at and I'm not striving to go too much further. So I'm like, see that guy? He looks like he's happy. He's got a decent home.
As long as nothing blows it up.
He's watching TV like, that's my guy. See these guys like fighting out here. You see these guys fighting on the street. This person's fighting for like a better humanity and stuff like that. As much as I want that type of stuff, like yeah, I'd
be the asshole selling them shit.
Yeah, I'm not the honest person. Like, no, I'm not even doing that much. Like I'm not even selling crap to them. Like I'm the dude driving to the store to buy more Cheetos so I can sit down and watch the newest Flash while eating. Like I'm not. There's not much else into it, so it's really hard for me to get behind where you're like that character, like I that's so much. I'm like, yeah, I believe in what he believes in, but I wouldn't make any like standard steps towards it.
Well, I mean, like Ivan, like, I like the character Ivan. I love so much from the original Golden Sun. Yeah, that's Ivo. Big difference. But the point is that he joined. He's the third one to join the party. And he's my favorite one, and he's one of the ones that I would look forward to doing the cosplay the most because his whole like story arc / whatever, his big deal is that he's a character who joins in late. He's like, hey, I got some stuff that I'm supposed to be doing, but what you're doing is literally saving the world. I'm going to probably join up with you guys and try to help out with that cause because it's awfully important. I can get back to my own shit later. Like that'd be me. I'd be the guy who's like, oh man, you guys are off trying to save the world. I should probably get in on this action. But I wouldn't be the one leading the charge if it were real life, that is. But how about you, Michelle? What's your thoughts on your characters that you were picking, Saria and Palutena and all that? So that's like they're also I'm gonna call them supporting role characters. I mean, yes, they're extraordinarily important, but they're not like the leads, so to speak. Is there a reason behind that?
I mean, most of mine that I would identify with like the most would not be the leads. Like characters I can think of that I feel like I would most identify with are the people who are there like helping the hero like completely in the background. Like some of the best examples I could think of are like Impa or Sheik, or in Pokemon like the Pokemon professor, like that person who's always there to like help you out and give you info and be there for you, but is not the hero in any means.
Yeah, that's incredibly too much effort.
No, I get it. Yeah, no, she wants to be the one to tell you that you can't ride your bike inside.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to have my God voice come over and be like, "You can't fucking do that. Stop it."
And yell at 10-year-olds for all day. That's what Michelle wants to do. She's like, I basically just want to yell at children. It's simple.
Fucking 10-year-olds.
Damn, kid, get off your bike. Oh, well, it's okay. Michelle gets to yell at us now.
So you want to know who I would be? I really wouldn't be the shop guy because those guys are assholes. What? Like seriously, you walk up to them and they're like, shouldn't you just be giving this away? Like the world's ending. I'm protecting your ass. I was like, no, I got to make money. Like I just gave you 1,000 that could feed your kids for years. Come on, man. No, fuck you. No, I would be the guy in the background hacking shit. Because that's how they type,
Oh,
right?
yeah, for sure.
I like how you sent that through the Skype too.
Burke's the guy sitting in the back. Give me a minute. Give me a minute.
Oh, are those
Hacking
the
NSA?
characters you need to hack into things? I would have never figured that out.
I don't know. Hacking NSA? Oh, Jesus.
Again, just entirely too much effort.
Why am I picturing Burke flying above Link like Navi, except for he has somehow a PC that's hooked up to nothing? He's like, give me a minute, Link, give me a minute. I gotta find this Dodongo's weakness. Hold on.
or in the new Zelda, enhance. Enhance. Enhance.
Yeah, I feel like the only way I'd end up really doing anything is if it was one of those like thrust into, like the only way this is ever going to be anything is you're the only one that could, but someone would have to, you know those heroes you always get mad at because they're like, no, you're the only one that can do it. They're like, no, I can't. That is definitely me, and I would probably actually still win the argument and not go do anything. But like that's what it would take, and it'd end up having to be. It would, for me to be the hero, it would have to be that story arc where you're trying to get the guy to go do something because you know he's the only one that can do it, and then he reluctantly finally gives in. But like, I still only give that like a 5% chance of actually me giving in.
So wait, hold on. Imagine that the four of us are an adventuring party. Okay, somehow it's
already I'm way over my head. But go ahead.
But let's just say like we ran into you while you're on this way to the store to get your Cheetos to return home. Okay, so on your way back from the store, you pass by the
orange fingers and all.
Yeah, orange fingers and all. We pass by the old abandoned castle that is in your neighborhood because there's a castle in your neighborhood, okay? And all of a sudden a booming voice from the castle says, I'm going to destroy the world. It's like in an hour. It's like if someone doesn't come here to the top floor and press the button, there are monsters in the house. And then all of a sudden Burke, Michelle, and I all break our legs simultaneously. And we're laying there and we're like, oh shit, Craig, no one else heard this. There's no time to get anyone else. You need to get in this thing, press that button and save the world. Can you do it for us, buddy? What do you do?
First of all, in that particular situation, I'd still be trying to get your asses up and like, come on, let's go.
No.
It's not that bad.
Both legs
It's
are
not
shattered and the
that
bone is
bad.
coming out of the leg.
He'd be like, one of you fuckers don't know healing magic. Like, come on.
I see, like that's what I'm saying though. Like in that situation, it is thrust upon me. There is no other choice. If it had been like, oh, all four of us are still together, I'd be like, okay, I'll go in, but like, whatever. Fine. But that's a very specific thing that we four, or me in general, have to be in the area where we know for a fact no one else heard this, and we are the only ones, and we believe it's a credible threat. Because you got to imagine if we're walking by a creepy abandoned house of any form, the four of us on the sidewalk, somebody yells out in a booming voice, even if it sounds ethereal, like the world's going to end within 1 hour if you don't get in here and press a button. We'd be like, what the fuck is that guy smoking?
Craig's gonna be like, someone has their TV too loud.
I'm like, okay, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, it would take, honest to God, like pushing to get me there, where I actually believe, where somebody's like, oh, the only way we're not going to destroy the world is if someone can beat this Halo game in under an hour and 45 minutes on easy. I'm like, all right, I'll try it. What's the worst that can happen, right?
Roll the dice here.
Come on, RNGesus, let's do this.
What if he goes, if you can run at a 7.5 minute mile, I'll spare the earth.
The earth is fucked.
Yeah.
Oh god. I'm just picturing all these like ridiculous requests. He's like, you have to
No.
eat this pizza that has pineapple on it.
I'd take one for the team on that one. If you're there, I'm still like, Brian, go ahead. You get to eat this pizza. Because one, that gives me extra satisfaction knowing that we're getting older and our digestive systems aren't as good anymore.
Oh, no.
And there's certain foods that don't work well. So I would let you gladly eat this whole large pizza with pineapple and whatever else you want on it.
Oh, God. Oh, man. Oh, speaking of beating up on children, I think Michelle has a quiz for us.
Hey,
What?
Sorry, yelling at 10-year-olds, not beating up children. Get it right.
there's a big
It's
difference.
verbal
Jesus.
abuse, not physical.
Hey, I didn't make the rules. The booming voice did.
Whoa.
All right, yes, I do have a short quiz this week. Just a forewarning, as I had stated earlier with you guys, I'm not super happy with this quiz, but I did a lot of editing and I like it okay.
All right, let's make it happen. I'm in. What's the order, by the way?
Bert, Craig, Brian.
Hell yeah.
There's only a couple number questions too, so I have 10 questions and a couple of them I have like some fun facts to go with too. So all right. So my first 4 questions are from a particular survey I found with some cosplay data. And basically I think it was like 300 or so cosplayers were like took this survey about various things. So 52% of people who took the survey were inspired to cosplay by one of 2 things. Your correct answer. What are the top 2 inspirations for cosplay?
Video games and comic books.
I'll go with video games and movies.
I think it's video games and comic books.
Okay, how do I word this? It's not the medium, it's like what makes them decide to actually take the action to do it.
Oh, so like what is the
What's
2
their
things
motivation?
that push?
Yeah, pretty much. Like,
I
what's their
gotcha.
motivation to be like, oh my god, like I actually want to cosplay?
Actually loving the character, person, kind of a thing, and the attention.
I'm going to go with an inordinate amount of free time and being creative.
I'm going to say identifying with the character and friends, basically like the desire to go to cons and be with friends and be a part of something bigger.
Okay, so Brian's gonna get 1 point. Those were all things that actually were on the list of inspirations, just Friends was one of the top 2.
Was money the other one?
No, it's actually like it's actually basically what my situation was, where like people go to cons and they're like, oh my god, like this would be so much fun if I did this. So that's when they start doing it. And then the other is just like their friends are like, hey, like you should do this, and they just give into peer pressure. They're like, okay.
Hell yeah, peer pressure.
Peer
Wins
pressure for the
again.
win.
But all
again.
of, all of your
Alright.
answers were actually other reasons. So, but Brian will get a point
Inordinate
there.
amount of free time was an actual answer.
I don't think it was worded exactly like that, but it was pretty much like having the time to do so.
Oh, okay, I'll take that as the rephrasing.
Yep.
All right, number 2. 51% of the surveyed people had their first cosplay based on what medium? So this would be now where you guess like what it came from.
Oh, okay.
When was the survey taken?
It was posted like last month. It's very recent,
Video games.
but it's based off their first ever cosplay.
I'm going to go with comic books for the very first one.
I'm also going to say comics for the first
All
one.
right, no points awarded here.
Movies.
No, actually, anime is most people's
Oh,
first cosplay
damn,
is
of
anime.
course. Of course it was.
My first one was
Curse
Star
you,
Wars.
Idiot. Damn Naruto. That's Dale Gribble reads anime.
Number 3. When asked the top 3 categories to cosplay from, video games actually comes in at number 1 in present day, and anime has fallen to number 2. What was the third most popular?
Movies.
You said 1 was video games, 2 was anime.
Yes.
I'll go with 3 as comic book characters.
Comic book. I'm sticking with comics until it's
All right,
right.
I'm gonna give Burke the answer here, because it's specifically live action TV or movies. It's
No
way
kidding. Comics is
behind.
that low.
It's way behind like video games
Oh,
and
yeah.
anime, but it is still like the third most popular.
Dang. Well, there you have it.
And the last question for this: 32% of people
What is comic
surveyed.
books?
No, 32% of people surveyed, which was the most answered here, spend about how much money per cosplay?
$342.
$111.11.
Michelle's like, I hate you guys because I should have to subtract.
No, I can do
I
that.
think it. No,
I can't add. I can subtract.
We've seen you math and it doesn't go well.
Is that 1 or 7?
is it? Wait, hold on. Burke, what did you guess?
I don't remember.
He said like 342.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have to be dead on, or is
I
it
have a
closest to
range,
it?
so
Okay, then I want to say it's 600.
okay. I'm actually going to give it to Craig because he's right in, not the middle, but right in the range. The 100 to 200 range is the most common for the cost of costumes.
Oh.
Brooke, you should have went with a $343. You said
Yeah.
342. I was like, damn, so close.
Wasn't thinking about that.
He was going to do that, but they were drop frames.
All right. The rest of these questions are inspired by cons because that's pretty much what inspired cosplay. So, the first question I have about how many people attended the one-day event in 1970 that would eventually turn into San Diego Comic-Con?
Oh my god.
I'm going to go with 343.
I'm going with 11 people.
I thought it was like 22, honestly.
Okay, Brian's technically the closest, still way off, but technically the closest. The answer is 100 people gathered.
I was going to go with 111. Damn
Yeah.
it.
So 100 people gathered for this.
I thought I remember it being really small. Like, the very first one was, like extremely down there. Because
Yeah.
I remember Kevin Smith talked about many times how even in like early 90s when he started going there, he went there and took like Mallrats there and stuff like that, which is a whole funny story because they did a showing of Mallrats at a Comic-Con and they're like, holy crap, this movie's gonna make bank. They're like, little did they know they were just playing it to the exact perfect audience for this entire thing.
Yeah.
So that reminds me of the other day we were talking like and the how things have grown and stuff is basically Emily was watching Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix or whatever, Amazon Prime, whatever it's on. And she texted me and she goes, oh my god, they're talking about Dungeons and Dragons and relating it to Satanism and how like these people are just all evil who play Dungeons and Dragons. And I was like,
oh yeah,
my
it's
God.
the
That
devil's
was
game.
the 80s, man.
I know, it
they
was. I was like,
hated it.
it's just amazing how much that has changed.
I mean,
Who was the guy
there's
who made that?
Gary Gygax.
Gary
No,
Gygax.
Larry Lilacs is the guy from CNC, the quote person from CNC. The guy's name is Gary Gygax, though. The real
Gary
Yeah.
Gygax.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
It's Gary Gygax, GG.
That's a badass name, by the way.
what was the
Anyway.
TSR was the company at the time. I don't remember what TSR stood for, but it was TSR, and then it shifted over to something else, and now it's Wizards of the Coast or Wizards of the West Coast or something along those lines.
Yeah, they had a
owns it.
there's a documentary on it on Netflix.
There's a book. There's a book.
Wait, there's a documentary on D&D?
On Netflix.
For real?
Oh, I'll
Yeah.
be watching that tonight if you can tell me what the title is.
Oh.
Seriously,
Look that up. I've got a book. It's really cool. I think you two should actually go through it. I'm not joking. Like
I
you guys
would.
think especially now that you both have done CNC. Brian, you've played D&D with me before. I mean, Burke's played a little bit of D&D with me too. But it's called Of Dice and Men, and it kind of goes through. Yeah. It goes
Sorry,
through.
that really
It's
got
this
me.
one author, and he's like a decently distinguished author. I'm not going to say he's like always New York Times bestseller type guy, but it's somebody that's decently well known. And he goes through and actually talks about how he kind of got into gaming and his path through gaming. And the fun part is during his parts, he talks like he actually voices his own portion of the book, and the book's split into two things. One of it is here's the history of how D&D started, and here's my story through the whole thing. And there's another one. It's a fictionalized story of one of his D&D campaigns that he says like is very much akin to how he kind of came up through D&D and stuff like that. And so it's a pretty cool it's a pretty cool just like swap between the stories, and somebody else does the voices for those. Do you have the name of that, Burke?
No, I'm still looking through my history.
Okay, but yeah, that's interesting, Craig.
It's
Like,
really good.
that-
I should forward the link along to you guys so you can buy it on Audible. It's super worth one credit for. Like no doubt, it is like super worth it.
Of Dice and Men. I love it.
Okay, we went off on
I
a
really
tangent.
like
Where
the
did we leave
title.
off at for the? For the question.
For the question, yeah.
So 100 people attended this one-day event.
That's where we were at.
Yeah.
So Comic-Con started as a one-day mini-con called San Diego's Golden State Comic Mini-Con on March 21st, 1970. The purpose of the event drew about 100 attendees, and it was to raise funds and generate interest for a larger one. So it was pretty successful, and they created a full-fledged 3-day San Diego Comic-Con, then called the Golden State Comic-Con, in August of 1970, with a bunch of people, and over 300 people attended that, and that's when they created things like they were at hotels and they had like the dealer's room, programs and panels, film screenings, and pretty much, created the setup that all cons now have.
What was the very first title for the con? The initial one?
San Diego's Golden State Comic Mini-Con.
Can we add more words to that, please? I want that longer. And I want you to be able to try and shorten it to like Fligger. Like the Flizzard.
Is this your last
from no, that's Sunny with raining meatballs, whatever. What's that called?
Cloudy with a Chance of
Cloudy with a
Meatballs?
Chance of Meatballs, not Sunny in Philadelphia. One of those two.
By the way, I have a fun fact, but I don't know if it's going to be a quiz question. Is this the last question in regards to Comic-Con?
Okay, I'm going to shut up now.
All right.
Do you have any more questions about cosplay?
No, the rest of the questions are specifically... Well, all but one of them is specifically about the 2016 San Diego Comic-Con.
Because I was going to ask, I was expecting to be, what are the top 2 costumes at cons?
No, that's actually the kind of thing I was trying to find and couldn't.
Because if you had told me it wasn't Deadpool and Harley Quinn, I would have fucked every one of you up.
That was like the general consensus on forums. Like, people were saying that. But, there was other times where people would be like, I never see this, but I see this character all the time. Like, it kind of varies by region, time. Like, there's a lot of, but Deadpool was one of the most common for sure.
No, it's Deadpool and Harley Quinn now. And if any of you say any differently, then you're outright liars and it's fake news.
Fake news.
All right. So the next question, so the next, I think 4 are about last year's Comic-Con specifically in San Diego. Besides the official scheduled events and typical cosplaying, what was the most popular thing to do at San Diego Comic-Con of 2016? So it wasn't anything that they specifically scheduled. It's just something that happened.
They took pictures with people cosplaying.
Brian, you can go ahead.
Craig knows, I can tell by the shit look on his face.
Yeah, really. There's a post-party thing where they do the Q&A. Like, there's a Q&A session with that one dude who hosts everything.
Pretty well with the letters you're doing, because it definitely was Pokemon Go had just released.
Yep. Last year's Comic-Con, people went fucking nuts.
Wow. And it literally came out the week before, and everybody was losing their shit.
Yeah.
At Comic-Con over Pokemon Go.
Yeah, they were going nuts over it.
That was Pokemon Go was slightly popular.
Number 7. Which decade had a lot of nostalgia featured at the 2016 San Diego Comic-Con?
1970s.
I just gotta end up going with the 90s.
All right, Craig will get the point again. It was the 90s. So Nickelodeon had a huge booth at the convention center. They had props from the game show Double Dare, and they had a giant Olmec from Legends of the Hidden Temple. They had sneak peek of the 2017 Power Rangers movie with a bunch of the old toys as well. And then they also did the Tick, because that's getting an Amazon reboot, among a bunch of other things.
Just because everything's kind of coming up our child generation coming up, everything's coming into fruition of that. Yeah. I was figuring it was probably 90s related stuff. And I remember some of that, just not in the forefront.
Number 8. This show celebrated its 50th anniversary at the 2016 San Diego Comic-Con. What was it?
The Brady Bunch.
Oh, I think I know.
Saturday Night Live.
I just love the way Burke answered that. No, Doctor Who's a very good guess, but it was actually Star Trek. And one of the featured events was William Shatner actually gave a touching tribute to Leonard Nimoy, because he had just died earlier that year.
I miss you, Spock.
All
I
right.
was just trying to think
imagining
of anything that was roughly because Doctor Who technically isn't 50 years old because they stopped for that while, you know, and it's like short because of the
Right.
20-year break or
Yeah.
10-year break or whatever. So I knew that was
it
like short. I was
counts,
like, no, it's
whatever.
not Doctor, because that was the first thing that came to my head was Doctor Who, but I was like, no, that didn't come. And the only thing I could think of was, isn't Saturday Night Live like somewhere near 50?
Probably
I don't
is.
remember.
That's why I said
Yeah.
the Brady Bunch.
I
Just
mean,
first
you
thing that
were
popped
in the
my
right
head.
era. It was just the way you said it just cracked me up for some reason. All right. Noting that attendance between male and females is pretty evenly split at 50-50 to most conventions, who typically spends more money at the cons?
The guys.
Yeah, I'll just go with guys and force Brian to either go with the crowd or go against.
Even though my gut says it's the guys, I'm gonna say the girls
It
just
is
to be
the guys.
different.
They statistically
Yeah, I
outspend their
figured.
girls by about $300 to $400 per con. It's a huge gap
Per person or like overall?
per person. Like,
Okay.
if you have
Okay, that
like,
makes a lot-
a male
You're like-
and an equally interested female, the male's gonna spend about $400 more.
We have no self-control and we never grow up. That's what that says.
Yeah.
All right, last question, number 10. Of all the things available at cons for purchase, what is the thing that is sold the most?
In terms of dollar value or in terms of items sold?
I believe it's actual quantity.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with autographs.
Damn, that's what I was going to do. I was going to do autographs as well. Autographed photos.
I was gonna say bottled water pizza, but
So it's actually people's original artwork or prints of their digital artwork. Is actually the most sold item.
I thought it was going to be either that or like charging for a photograph or something like that. I thought it was going to be one of those
I
two.
mean,
Just
it included
'cause you get so many people that are like-
photo ops, like stuff like that.
yeah, because I was just thinking you get $10 a pop and you get like 900 people wanting to take a picture with Nathan Fillion or something
yeah.
or Stan Lee.
I was really expecting that you were going to ask the question of who bought the very, very, very first original ticket to Comic-Con. Say who was number one through the door. And I was really expecting that was going to be one of
I
your
didn't
questions.
come across that info.
Yeah, it's George R.R. Martin. He was the original guy through the door for
Interesting.
Comic-Con.
Crazy.
I know, right? That's why I thought of that, and I was like, that's why I asked. I go, is there any more Comic-Con questions? Because I'm like, hey, this one's coming up. I'm gonna nail this sucker.
And Brian loses a point for boring us all to death. Okay.
What?
That-
I don't even watch
that's
Game of Thrones.
That's a
you
new
guys
way
do.
for George R.R. Martin to kill someone off.
So Brian comes in last with one. For some reason,
After the negative.
Yeah, for some reason, Burke has two, and what's not a tie at all. For second
Yeah,
place, not at all. Craig wins with 4.
Yay!
There it
I
is.
know.
I really didn't expect it to be about the cons. I had no idea.
I did not find as much statistics about cosplaying as I wanted
to.
Is that his theme song? Can we isolate that audio? Like we're gonna isolate that during editing and just have that be Craig's new theme song. And Craig, and just it starts playing. Great.
Oh, my face hurts. From
Yeah, no.
trying.
But really though, Michelle, there wasn't there. That's interesting that there wasn't a ton on that because I was sincerely like mentally prepared for a quiz all about the cosplay, and like we started asking con questions. I'm like, oh god, I've been to one con in my
Yeah,
entire
it was
life.
like I could find cons in the United Kingdom that like would literally give statistics because they kept track of like the characters and stuff like that, but none of the US ones do that at all.
That's really actually kind of funny. A bunch of nerds keeping statistics on what people were wearing.
Yeah, right.
That's pretty good.
That makes me giggle. And of course, the Americans are the lazy ones. Like, fuck it, who cares?
Oh man, I'm just picturing that the British ones are like, "You goes Doctor Who." All right, that's another one.
Oh, is that a over there?
How would you tally that? Like, because you know, in all the cons here, people just come in from back doors. All the people.
I think they had to register as their characters.
Oh, that would be a lot easier. It's still such a nerd thing to do.
God, I'm Fuck. I don't know. No, that can't be it. No,
No, it's not. It's not it. Don't worry. I'm not going to dunk. It's not a dunk on thing. This is just. You go, this is how they tally it. I'm like, tally it. I was mentally in the wrong spot when you're the British people. Just. Oh my god, no, don't worry. Oh my god. Tally her. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm sorry. Ooh. All right, I'm calm. All right. So at this point, we can all agree that I guess somebody has to get dunked on this week. And who are we going to choose? Because we got to pick someone.
It probably should be me because of my stupid fucking comment. I can't think of any way to do it. Why don't we just fucking ask him? I think Michelle gets me. I think totally. I'm just waiting for it.
Or I mean, do British people get dunked on, or do Americans get dunked on?
Wait, I got it.
All right,
Brian's British accent sucks so bad. It got dunked on.